Hey, Jeremy here with Snore and Pastiche. If you have any questions about your home improvement or remodeling projects, just give me an email at myfixitguy@gmail.com. Yeah, a lot of folks email me, call me, ask, hey, I'm getting ready to paint my kid's room, and what do you think about spraying or rolling? And I usually tell them, by the time you go down to the store, spend the money on a sprayer, get back, set it up with the paint, dial it in, get it spraying just right, and then the cleanup on the sprayer, you can have a lot more time and effort involved in that than just grabbing a good old roller and getting it done. And I think what a lot of people are afraid of in rolling and using a brush is just the cleanup, and they're afraid that if they have to take a quick pause or something like that, that the roller is going to get all clogged up, the brush is going to get clogged up. So I'm going to show you a few things today to make it clean up easier and make the painting on the wall go a little bit quicker. So first of all, if you do have to take a break and maybe someone comes over, maybe kid falls down and bumps his knee, you got to take a break for just a few minutes, whatever. Just grab a grocery sack like you get at the grocery store, and just wrap your brush or your roller in it. It'll keep it wet, keep it from drying out, and that way you won't have any problems when you get back to your painting job. A lot of times people, when they go to the store and buy a roller or a brush, they see the synthetic rollers, and they're $2, $3, $4, and a lot of people think, yeah, that's a really good deal. And it is a good deal. However, if you spend a little bit more money on your roller and a little bit more money on your brush, there's some major differences. If you buy a lamb's wool roller, what happens is when you roll it out, you're not going to get the splatters all over the place. So if you miss a place with your plastic or with your tarp, it's not going to spray paint all over the place. Where if you get the nylon synthetic roller, they splatter a lot, they release a lot of paint as you're rolling. And the other thing it's really good for is if you wear glasses like I typically do, you're not going to get the little specks all over, they're not going to be all in your hair, and your kids are going to wonder if it's Halloween's coming early this year. So anyways, just put a little bit of paint on your roller, and work in an area that's comfortable for you. For me, it's usually about 4x4, something like that. And what you want to do is just pick a spot on the wall, and you want to do a diagonal strip like this. What that does is it lays down a nice wet patch of paint with all that nice paint that you just put on your roller. Lay down a diagonal patch and then come back vertically. And as you see, it starts to lose a little bit of the paint. Then as you go back up, you pick up some more paint on this wet patch that you just laid down. And so you can roll out a fairly large area rather quickly. So you can see in about 10 minutes this whole wall could just be totally done and ready to go. Now, a lot of times when you're cutting in, what will happen is your brush will get loaded up with paint like this, especially if you're painting for several hours or even all day. And what happens is it gets heavier and heavier and heavier. The bristles will kind of glob together. You won't get a real nice brush stroke, and your paint will start dripping. There's a real easy way to take care of that. Just pick up a little stainless steel brush like this, and whenever it starts to glob up like that, just take it to the hose, take your stainless steel brush. You can see there's a bunch of paint on there. What you're going to do is under the water, just brush it out, and it'll go from looking something like that to looking something like that. This brush I've had for almost 2 years, use it all the time, and basically looks new. And all you have to do is just keep it clean. It'll keep performing for you like new for a long time. Another thing you can do when you're cutting in is if you don't like cutting in freehand with a brush, you can put up some tape. A lot of people don't like to use tape because it tends to bleed. If you just use the back of your nail and push that edge down real nice and firm, that usually will take care of most of your bleeding issues. The other thing I like to use is one of these little rollers like this. instead of using a brush. A brush puts a lot of paint on, gives you a lot of opportunity for paint to leak underneath that tape and bleed. If you use just a nice little roller like this, you can just roll right along, and not so much paint is going to go on the wall, therefore not so much is going to be bleeding, and you won't have as many problems. The other reason I really like to use rollers versus a sprayer is if you use a sprayer, it just lays down a flat, even coat of paint, which can look nice when it's new. But if you're like me or a lot of folks have got kids, maybe you've got grandkids, and kids will leave fingerprints, they'll put little marks in the wall, things like that. So there's a lot of times people like to go back and touch up an area. What happens is if you use a brush or a roller to touch up an area that's been sprayed with a sprayer, then what happens, you have this stipple pattern that is left by either a brush stroke or a stipple pattern from the roller. And so here you've got this nice flat paint from the sprayer, and now you've got this stipple pattern from the roller, or maybe you have a brush stroke if you're using a brush. And so if you just use a roller the first time, a lot of times you can get the job done much quicker and cleaner than, like I say, running around trying to get a sprayer, get it cleaned out, get it back in time, and all the hassle involved with that. A real quick tip for cleaning out your roller is just grab like a 5-gallon paint bucket, something like this. What you want to do is hide behind it, hold your roller in one hand, get your spray nozzle with the hose on the other. And what you're going to do is you're going to use this bucket as a shield. Grab your hose and just start at the top and let it spin, spin, spin. As you move down with that, you're pulling all the paint out, washing out with fresh water, and as it's spinning, it'll actually spin all that paint out from deep down in and get rid of it much quicker. So I hope that helps. One last thing. A lot of people like to use plastic or maybe a blue plastic tarp, something like that, to cover with. Again, if you spend a little bit more money, get yourself a canvas tarp. It's probably going to cost you 2-3 times what a piece of plastic or something like that will, but plastic will tend to rip. The blue tarps, they don't last as long. Again, I've had this for several years. It's in great shape, a little dirty, but hey, I can hose that off. So anyways, this is Jeremy for Sonora and Pastiche. Again, if you have any other questions about your home improvement or remodeling projects, give me an email at myfixitguy@gmail.com. Thanks a lot. See you next time.